Are you constantly getting asked to do a textured fringe with a mid taper and you don't know what to do? In this video, I'm going to explain to you the simple steps to just achieve this haircut. First thing you want to do is you want to saturate the hair, and then you want to find the crown. So once you've located the crown, you're going to section the hair off, and the reason being is because the top is going to be longer than the sides. The sides you're going to bring down a little bit lower just so that you can show off the taper a little bit. You want to make sure that you're always saturating the hair. That's what's going to keep these sections nice and clean. So now I'm looking for my first guideline. And I'm just going to lift the hair up, do a basic cut. My glove is tripping. And, after you do a couple of haircuts, that glove starts to trip. But now I'm just following that same guideline all the way through. It's nothing different than cutting with doing a regular cut on top. You're literally just sectioning each part off. And there's sometimes where I have to start over here because you see there I'm looking to see where that guideline is. I'll start all the way from scratch if I lose where I'm at, and there's nothing wrong with that. You rather start over than to give a haircut that isn't efficient. So notice how I'm pressing the comb down as I search for that guideline, and I'm separating what I'm gonna cut versus what I'm saving for my next section. Notice how I'm pushing my thumb along the top of that comb because it's forcing the separation between what I'm gonna cut now and what I'm gonna cut later. And as I get to the back, I'm still just following the same guideline. I'm taking that travel guideline that I started in the front and I'm just working it all the way through. And I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to bring this guideline all the way down, obviously. When I get to the other side, I'm not going to do all this fancy sectioning just to show people you don't have to make it super sexy to get a clean cut. Now, this part is important. Separating the hair, there's going to be different lengths. That top hair is going to be a different length than what the bottom is going to be. But you see here, I'm literally just grabbing the hair, pulling it up, and I'm cutting off what don't belong. Because the way that I'm pulling the hair off the side of the head, all of that is not needed. And when I get to the back, you'll see it's still the same length. You know, on this channel, we like to break the rules. We don't like to do what everybody tells you is how you're supposed to do it, or, oh, you gotta do cutting hair this way. This is what's so fun about being a barber. You do what you want, cut hair how you want, as long as you get the same results. That's all that matters. I'm preparing to cut the top, and I'm still using my thumb to press down to get that separation. And I'm just gonna comb over to the side. And the main point of this is you're just splitting the hairs so that you can create a travel guideline. And whatever, I'm gonna make my next line, and I'm gonna comb the outside over, and you're gonna see there's gonna be a strip of hair left over. So this strip that's in the middle, I'm cutting all of this, right? I'm cutting all of this, and this is the line that I'm gonna follow for both sides. So I'm starting in the back, because when I get to a certain part in the front, I'm not gonna cut any hair, just because I want to take the fringe and cut that separately. And I think I'm only cutting off about maybe an inch. I had to rip out the rest of that glove because that was frustrating me. So I'm just gonna follow the same guideline all the way through. And as I get this guideline created, I'm just gonna comb the hair over, and I'm just gonna follow it on both sides. So see here, I'm not gonna cut no more because the rest of that is all fringe. And I can't cut the top the same length that I cut the fringe because the fringe is gonna be a little bit longer. So now you're gonna see the travel guideline step. And you can see the difference in the hair. So I'm just following that all the way through. And I'm gonna use this same line all the way to the front before the fringe. And then when I go to the left side of his head, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna use that, but something, a detail that you should know, but if you don't, all of this hair that I'm cutting right now, I'm gonna cut half of that. I'm going to comb half of that over to the left side so that when I'm cutting that side, I'm matching it, if that makes sense. I'm matching the cut to the travel guideline. So I'm just taking that travel guideline and I'm putting it on the other side. But you can see why I sectioned the hair off, because this is a different length compared to the sides. The sides I took off more. The top I'm not taking off as much, because for that textured fringe look, you want it to be very a difference between the top and the bottom, and all of that right there is fringe. All of that is fringe. So this is what I mean. I'm taking that hair and I'm combing it over. So now everything that I just cut, travel guideline, and I'm taking that to the other side. So watch me now. Whenever you see me comb it over like that and I lift the hair up, I'm getting ready to follow that travel guideline. I'm either gonna create it or I'm following it. And I'm connecting everything to that travel guideline. I'm not connecting it to the sides. Because if I try to connect the top to the sides, it's gonna be uneven. I'm connecting the guideline that I created on the top of his head, not on the sides of his head, the top of his head. And where the parietal ridge is, where it separates the curve, that's my point that I'm not going past. Because if I go past that, now I'm going into what I already cut, and that takes off the shape. And I know, like, the texture fringe seems like it's such a simple haircut. It could be difficult if you make it. Straight hair is something that's like, it's a very difficult texture to cut. If you make it difficult, it can be very easy, but if you make it difficult, it can be very difficult by not following guidelines, travel guidelines, skipping steps. Obviously, if you're more experienced, it's going to be easy for you to skip steps. But this is something, as I said in previous videos, this is why I went to barber school, so I could learn how to do these types of haircuts. So now if you pay attention, I'm not going to go past a certain point because all of that is fringe. I know you've probably cut hair before where you see like, dang bro, I cut the hair all the way down and end up taking that fringe too short. I've done it before. See, so now I'm doing a fringe and you can see the difference in the length in the hair. So on this side, I'm pulling his hair towards me. I learned this from Ryan, the guy that cuts next to me. I think Ryan Does Cuts is his YouTube channel. He pulls the hair towards him as he's standing on the side of the client, and it helps with that shape. And then you're just literally following that all the way around. I'm cutting it with texture though. So I'm cutting his hair at an angle, kind of like point cutting, if that makes sense. And this is going to give him more texture in the front. And this is what that textured fringe comes from. Being able to actually texturize that front part of the hair. And because his hair is curly, it really doesn't even really need much texture. But I'm just so used to doing it this way. This is just how I follow it. It's more when you're doing that straight hair texture, you really got to adjust that, being really intentional with how you texturize the front. So now I'm using sea salt spray, and just to kind of like give me some shape and put it's like a pre-style. I think that's what, I forget who it was that I learned that from, Sean Cuz here. It's a pre-style, and I don't have a diffuser, so I just kind of use my hand. I just like grab the hair and I scrunch it into my hands as I blow dryer on it. So now I'm setting in the taper, which this is the easier part. I try to connect the hair from where the bottom of his ear starts to where his eyebrow is. So that's like my two connecting parts. That way I'm doing the same thing on both sides. And I'm just taking my Stylecraft sabers and setting in that second guideline and taking it out. So now I'm gonna go with my one guard and I'm just gonna set in that next guideline. This one is always important for me because I love to stretch my guards. Learn that from somebody else too. Hey, first thing, you always gonna hear me say I learned something from somebody else because I take things from different people and I create my own style. Stretching that guard system is really gonna help with certain type of tapers and certain type of fades. So I try to set it in not too big, but just like big enough, and then I'm coming back with my zero guard just to kind of clean up. Now I'm gonna come in with my two guard, and the two is really just connecting to the top. This is the highest guard that I'm gonna use. The majority of the time, the highest guard I'm using is a 2 or a 3. So I don't think I use a 3 in this haircut, but you can already see the haircut coming together. I think I over detail on this side. I'm coming back with the 1.5 now. I don't get the look that I'm going for, so I end up over detailing, and you don't have to do that. I speak about that a lot in my videos because of it saves you time if you don't over detail. And a lot of times, man, just try it if you haven't. Just go ahead and after you do your guard system, don't even look at it. Just go to the other side. Don't even detail. Detail at the end. You'll come back and you'll be like, hey man, like this low key was cool. I didn't even need to add anything to it. So a lot of times we make things worse than what they have to be. So now I'm coming back with the sabers, the trimmer, and these are amazing. I love the sabers. I do. My only complaint is sometimes the blade be tripping on the clipper. Very, very sensitive, but they're super sharp liners. I feel like their liners have been the best for a while. I don't know. I'm not gonna say the best. It's up there. It's competing. But yeah, I'm setting in my I call it my base for the lineup because it kind of lets me know like what the cut is gonna look like. So I'm able to, if I need to go to a different guard, like detailing is easier after you set the lineup in. I think if you really want to level up your detailing game, clipper over comb, knowing how to flick out that 2 guard, blending into the top, and setting in the lineup and detail after. So now here I'm taking my 2 and I'm just kind of blending into what I cut already on top. And this is what I mean. You see the shape on the sides. Imagine if I wouldn't have separated the hair and I would have cut it all one length. It would have been a disaster. It wouldn't have been, I would have had all this hair hanging over. You ever try to do one of these blowout tapers and the hair just hangs over ridiculously? Reason why is because you're cutting it all the same length. You have to cut the sides around that parietal ridge has to be lower than the hair that's on top. It's 2 different lengths. And now I'm just doing the same steps, man. Setting in my ball line with the sabers, getting ready to complete that back taper. Okay, something very important. Flicking out when you're setting in this line. Flicking out is so important. You ever had trouble getting out that 0 guard spot? You go to the 1, then you go back to the 0, then you go lever open, then you go back to the 1, you go back to the 0. The reason why is because you're setting in that line too aggressively. You're setting in that 0 guard spot way too aggressively with the clipper open. So when you get to the top of that line, flick out in a dramatic way so that you're already you're setting yourself up. It's pretty much like skipping a step without skipping one. You're giving yourself so much room for error because guess what? If you need to come back and clean up with the lever open, you have the ability to. But what you didn't do was force yourself to set in a very aggressive line. So it's easier to clean up that way. All right, I know this part is out of focus, but just look at the shape. The shape of the back, the shape of the fringe, the sides. This is how you complete this haircut, by sectioning and sectioning properly and not overdoing your sectioning, not doing 24-point sectionings. Like, it's just a fringe taper. So here's what we're going to do for the final look. We're going to make sure that the hair is a lot more dry than what it is, because it was still pretty damp. And I'm, again, just going through, grabbing the hair, just, trying to set in that product. And I'm coming through and I'm over detailing. This is what I was talking about when I said over detailing. I'm like big time over detailing. But you can put a clay in someone's hair. You can put, depending on the hair texture, like hair texture like this, I would use a clay, a light hold. If the hair is pretty strong, do an aggressive hold. But you style it how you want, powder, whatever. But don't over detail. This is where I messed up in this video. I'm gonna show you my faults, my wrongs. And I appreciate y'all for sticking through this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.